I gotta get I gotta know who is team Tragedic and who is team Tragedic, just so we can get a tally.
For humor's sake, I want to pick the first one, but my natural read is the second one.
Yeah, I read Tragedic, but I like both. I don't know, but I gotta go with my natural read. It's only fair.
I think I'm the second one too.
That sounds good with me. I guess one day we'll find out what it's supposed to be, and then we'll find out it's a typo and it's supposed to be
tragic. And wouldn't that just be tragic, really?
Yeah,
it would be Tragedic, really.
Hello, and welcome to episode 161 of Rhythm Encounter, the RPG fan music podcast. I am your host, Mike Salbato, and today we are going to be talking about mobile RPG music. Wait, don't go away. I know how you probably feel about mobile RPGs, and honestly, some of us probably agree with you, but that doesn't mean there is not some excellent music to be found, and we have some excellent music today. So joining me on this episode is music, what do we call you? Music fan extraordinaire, Patrick.
Hey, everyone.
Hello. Audra is here with us.
Hi.
And Pete, only your second time in whenever your first one was, several years ago.
Yeah, glad to be here, though.
Yeah, welcome back. All right. So this was an episode that filled up pretty quickly, I think, once we started talking about doing it. I wasn't really sure even what I was going to bring onto it, but we ended up with a really cool lineup of music, so I'm excited to talk about it. Before we get into that, though, briefly, I would like to talk about what everyone has been listening to, whether it's game music or otherwise. So, Pete, since you're more or less our newest person here, what has been on your playlist lately?
Oh my gosh, I've been torturing myself with some of my own music. I will not go into details, but a good friend of mine fixed my guitar up real good. I gave him my guitar and he brought me back the guitar of Theseus. It looks like my old guitar, but it's all different on the inside. And so I've been inspired to do some music. It's terrible, but it feels good to do. So some of that. Also, I've been listening to the Interstate 76 soundtrack, the hit 1996 or 7, I believe, Activision PC game.
Wow, deep cut.
That is a deep cut. I love that.
Such a good soundtrack. And we have a song today akin to perhaps, maybe it's a song that could have been found on that soundtrack. Maybe.
Okay. How about you, Pat? What have you been listening to?
It's been pretty much 100% Clair Obscur.
Yeah.
I don't know which will come out first between that soundtrack review and this podcast, but I have just been so engrossed in this soundtrack. It is crazy good. And what's sad for me is apparently a bunch of y'all already knew it was good because they had been publishing like these cool like music interlude things well before the game was out, and I guess there was a demo and all this stuff. I missed all of that, and then the game came out with all the hype, and it's 8-hour soundtrack, and on top of that 33-minute music video that they released, which, you know, clever, they made it 33 minutes long.
Yeah.
So I've just been just engrossed in it. I love the vocals, I love the spoken word stuff, and then I love how each major area has like 10 variations around the central theme, 8 to 10 each. Feels very Masashi Hamauzu to me, right? Very, you think Saga Frontier 2 or Final Fantasy 13. How, one key music theme can sort of cover an area in variations. And they did that for, I think, about 6 or 7 different spots in the game. And it just, I don't know. You'll be able to read my review later. I love it. I'm totally captivated by it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that soundtrack is going to appear all over our Music of the Year later this year.
Yeah, and I think it's not just our coverage. I think it's going to be sort of a top ticket item at like next year's Game Awards. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like concert performances of it and stuff.
I really hope so. That'd be great. So course, we got to get Music of the Year 2014 or 2014, 2024 published first, which,
we'll get there.
I'll get there. It's written. If anyone's listening and wondering where that feature is, it's written. It's just not published yet. So, all right. How about you, Audra?
I've been listening to either the Wild Arms 4 soundtrack or Final Fantasy VII Rebirth songs constantly.
Oh, yeah. Preparing for our next episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And just because I like the soundtrack of the one. So.
Yeah. Very cool. I almost hate to say this because I'm actively editing the episode that goes up right before this, and my answer is probably going to be the same because we recorded that one so close to this one that I feel like most of what I'm listening to lately is still the Blueprints soundtrack. Although what I started playing that I wasn't playing last time was the remaster of the first Lunar game. So I'm also listening to that. Yeah, it's. I guess this is more of a conversation about what I'm playing versus listening to, but that is what I'm listening to because I'm playing it. It's so cool. I have not played Lunar in so long, and it's been cool to get back into it. So I didn't remember exactly how much of the music. I'm like, oh yes, that like it's all like coming back to me as I play. So really nice.
Yeah, it's like tucked away like in a deep part of memory, and then when you revisit it, it's like if you haven't touched like Chrono Trigger or Chrono Cross in like 10 years and you pick one of those up and it's like, I know every song in this. And I feel like I haven't touched the remasters yet for Lunar. And I know when I do, it's going to be that experience.
Oh yeah. I mean, I just recently did the boat sequence and surprised myself that I remembered the lyrics as soon as they like came up. I'm like, oh wait, yes, I still remember this.
They never leave you.
Nope.
We need some RPG fan karaoke as soon as possible. I need to hear this. I need to hear you sing it, Mike.
Well, that would be our second episode of that because we've done it before, right?
We did.
That's true. Yeah.
We should do it again. Did Jono lead the crusade on that last time?
I hosted it. I did not put myself in that seat. That was Hillary and some other people that did that. So
I'd be down to do it again. We should get some Lunar themes in there.
Yeah. All right. Well, before that, I don't think anyone wants us to do karaoke today. Let us talk about mobile games. So yes, again, I know a lot of mobile RPGs don't always get the best rap out there. And in a lot of cases, at least as far as I'm concerned, maybe deservedly so. Like so many just will come and go and they're just like to make a quick buck. But there's a lot out there that is not that way. We have things like Octopath, and I'm not sure I should mention the Cold Steel game. Record Keeper.
Oh, no.
I think Record Keeper's been around for 10 years, at least in Japan. So
Another Eden.
Another
Pretty
Eden,
good.
yeah. I think some are legitimately good, whether or not.
I've been known to be a Genshin Impact liker. So.
Yeah.
That one's pretty good too.
They're not all about gacha mechanics and money grabbing. But again, whether they are or not, we're just going to talk about the music here today. But yeah, I guess what I was getting at is that because of that, like it's so easy for so many players to dismiss these games like fully, but you're going to miss out on stuff if you do that. So yeah. So as usual, we have 8 songs today. We are going to start off with a song from Pat and a song from me. So Pat, what are we kicking off this episode with?
We got a song called Smoke Signals at Sea by Yasunori Nishiki from Octopath Traveler, Champions of the Continent. This is on the OST Volume 2.
Cool. And then I'm going to follow that up with a song from Another Eden, also the Volume 2 soundtrack. This is... I debated with myself last night about how you're supposed to pronounce Tragedic or Tragedic because they could have just said tragic. So Tragedic, Paramours, and that's by Shunsuke Tsuchiya. I'm sure I said that wrong, but what are you going to do? Tsuchiya. It is Tsuchiya.
Yeah.
See, I told you. I said I was sure I said it wrong. So I was right that I was wrong.
You nailed it in that way.
In that very specific way, in a technical way. Yeah. Anyway, let's go listen to our first block.
All right, y'all just heard Smoke Signals at Sea from Octopath Traveler COTC and Tragedic, maybe, Paramours from Another Eden.
I like having both pronunciations. That's good.
Yeah, it's tough to say with that one. Weird word. I really like, that we're leading with, I think, some really strong ones. Obviously, Octopath has name recognition. Another Eden, I think among mobile gamers, people know that this is a pretty sort of like top tier game in terms of production, really good story, just incredible art and music. So we're looking at some pretty cool ones here. I think they're both still running globally. They haven't gone to Japan only yet or shut down, as we're going to get to later with some other ones. I have played Champions of the Continent through its main story up to the present. I keep playing it. I think it's a great game. I obviously dislike the gacha mechanics as much as anyone else, but otherwise it is a super fun game. And Smoke Signals at Sea is really just sort of an upbeat version of, well, it's an environment theme. It's not a battle theme. You are actually navigating on a boat through an area. I think Octopath Traveler 2 has a similar sequence in the game where you're on the boat but not on the world map. You're kind of navigating through a region this way. For those who don't know, Champions of the Continent takes place in the realm, the world of the first game. That continent, which is that one Orstera? I hope
Orstera is the first one.
Yep. So it's on Orstera, and so there's this invading country from the west led by Tatloch the Empress. Tatloch, Tatloch, and she is crazy evil. She has this sort of primal energy about her. She's all about, the strongest shall rule, and she also has this magic power that like seduces men to the point where she sucks the life energy out of them, and that's how she stays strong. And like all the men in her army are just like sacrificial pawns, and all the women are generals and stuff. So sort of an Amazonian plus like sort of evil vibes. And so Smoke Signals at Sea is in a Tatloch's theme gets pushed out into multiple forms. There is a battle theme for when you fight her in battle, but there's also this environment theme that's based on her character theme, and that's this one, Smoke Signals at Sea, which is this major battle major sort of confrontation. It's like a war where everyone in Orstera is like going up against her armies as they're meeting at this junction of rivers. It's really good in terms of gameplay, but man, this music is super cool. Mike, the YouTube video I put on, will we link that in the show notes?
Oh, we could, because of the commentary.
Yeah. So the video that I shared with my friends here, and that we'll have a link to for you as well. The YouTuber, who's the YouTuber that has it posted? I don't have their name. We'll have it in the show notes. They took the time to transcribe this piece so you can see note for note what's going on. That is a lot of work doing transcription. This really helps you get a sense for, the syncopation, a lot of the sort of pitch bending that they're doing with strings and woodwinds. Obviously the chanting, both the sustained notes of the higher vocals, and then you also get some like percussive lower chanting like hua, hua, and that's in there, hitting usually on the downbeat. I liked it already, and then when I found this transcription, it helped me to really appreciate it all the more.
The transcription helped me confirm what most stood out to me, which is those triplets at what I guess is the end of the piece. I think it's what plays between the loop. Yeah. and I guess it's on like a marimba or like a xylophone or something.
Yeah, what we're hearing there is a marimba in the background. It's mostly doing these 8th and 16th note syncopations, but right at the end there you get those triplets that really stand out.
Yeah, it brings it all home and sets up for the next loop. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, and it looks like Clea is the YouTuber who transcribed it. So Clea, thank you so much. I think it's so cool that someone took music from this mobile game, side story from Octopath and really gave it that care and attention. Now, of course, it is composed by Yasunori Nishiki. It's he's doing the exact same level of sort of care and attention to detail as a composer as he did for the 2 main games. So if you like the OSTs to Octopath Traveler 1 and 2, like, you're almost certainly going to like what you hear on Champions of the Continent.
And you're going to find that in the case of almost all these games, really, the current state of the art of mobile games, especially mobile RPGs, is really high production value. So for as much as you might find compromises in these games because of the business model, what you're not going to find is any skimping out on production value, in particular things like voice acting or in some of these games, or like especially music in all of them.
Yeah, I think our full playlist here is definitely going to bear that out for people who may be unaware of how good some of the music is on these games. And then real quick, if I can speak to the Shunsuke Tsuchiya track. And Shunsuke Tsuchiya has done the lion's share of music across the many, many volumes of Another Eden soundtracks. His work on Tragedic, Paramours, there's just so much sort of vibrancy to this sound. What it really made me think of is sort of the 2010s era Fulcrum music and Fulcrum arrange albums, which is funny considering what we're going to be bringing up very soon.
I was thinking Fulcrum with it too.
Right? It has a very 2010s trails and sort of East 8 and East 9, just that sort of brightness, like Yukihiro Jinda, the way he works with violin. Shunsuke Tsuchiya just brings that brilliance, that sort of, you don't want to pull away from it is the thing I notice. If I'm listening to it, I don't want to turn it off. I don't want to turn it down. I really want to just take it all in because it feels very life-giving. So I feel that way about like a lot of the songs on the Another Eden soundtracks, including the correct me if I'm wrong, they did do arrangements when they did their Chrono crossover.
I'm pretty sure they did. I mean, yeah. I don't routinely play the game, so I didn't experience that, but I think they did.
Yeah, I think they didn't. I mean, I know they did reuse some music, but I think there were a couple of arrangements as well. And like the way, Yasunori Mitsuda also works on these soundtracks, and I think the stuff is done at Pro Science Studio, which is Mitsuda's studio. So if you kind of like that vibe as well, I think there is again that sort of, I don't know, it's just very inspired. I'm very impressed by it all.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's all I can say about these two songs. My brain is fried.
You're fine.
It's pretty accurate, actually. I mean, they're both very inspiring songs in different ways, I think.
I gotta know, who is Team Tragedic and who is Team Tragedic, just so we can get a tally.
For humor's sake, I want to pick the first one, but my natural read is the second one. Yeah,
I read Tragedic. But I like both. I don't know. But I got to go with my natural read. It's only fair.
I think I'm the second one, too.
That sounds good with me. I guess one day we'll find out what it's supposed to be. And then we'll find out it's a typo and it's supposed to be...
tragic. And wouldn't that just be tragic, really?
Yeah, it would be tragedic, really.
So much so.
So on your Octopath song... Actually, quickly on this Clea person, all of their stuff on YouTube is scores for Octopath music. All three of them. It's this one. There's some stuff for 1 and 2 on there. So there's a lot there to look at. So I have to look at that later. But this song, oh my gosh, like what an intense sound. I feel like there's a really, really nice like base of a song here, like with the orchestration, but then it's those drums and that chanting, and I guess like growling. Like, I'm glad you explained like the story and how it's used in the game, because like I get why it's like just this like
there's like these grunts,
primal like energy to it. Really, really cool. When you talked about it being on the boat because of our talk about Lunar,
it's a very different kind of boat song.
Yeah, is this Octopath's boat song? It's not quite as wistful.
Different kind.
Yeah. No, I like it though. On my song, which now we've gone back and forth so much, I don't even want to name anymore. But yeah, man, there is so much music in Another Eden because the game has been running for so long. Across, there's now 6. Well, there are 6 numbered soundtracks, but there's actually 7 soundtracks because they released two editions of Volume 3, like a Part 1 and 2. But that's a lot of music. 7 albums.
It's a ton, and they have like live Blu-ray concerts. They have other orchestral arranged albums. I mean, it's a ton of music that I haven't even begun to scratch the surface of, but part of me is like, maybe I should deep dive this someday. Yeah,
like I was like, I don't even know where to, like, I knew I wanted to bring something, but I wasn't sure where, because I know there's some talented people. I listened to some stuff on Volume 6, but I'm like, you know what, I've listened to 1 and 2 more. Mm-hmm. But this one just really, really stood out. I like the Falcom comparison. To me, I was getting vibes, like there's a bit of Mitsuda in it for me, which I guess sort of makes sense. Although He's only credited with 1 song on this volume.
Right, I think he just sort of does main themes.
Because of like the really strong string work and stuff, it definitely made me think of Mitsuda. I got a little bit of similar feelings to like some like Ace Plus or Revo. Like it sounded like something that could also have been like in a Xenoblade or a Bravely game too. But
that feels right.
Yeah, and I don't always want to just be like, it sounds like this and that's why I like it. But it's just a great sound. Like it's. I actually bought it like as soon as I listened to it because I'm like, this needs to be on my like inspirational music playlist. I like it so much. And like I said, I was going through different volumes of soundtracks, scanning like song after song, and I'm like, I'm just waiting because I'm like, there's a lot of great music in there, but I wanted one to just be like, no, this is it, like just hit. And this is the one that hit me immediately, and like, no, this is what I want to represent on here. So I really enjoyed it. So again, though, reminds me that I need to listen to more of those other albums as well, and maybe play the game. I don't even know if it's still on my phone.
It's pretty good. I played it on PC and I liked it. I had to, after a certain point I was like, I have to take a break.
I had my time with it,
not to say anything about its quality. It's actually very high quality.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, at this point, because of how long it's been around and the content updates, it's probably maybe not as overwhelming as Genshin Impact, but still like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I wonder if it is like Genshin though, where like the stuff will be there. Like aside from timed events, the main story in Genshin doesn't pass you by. I wonder if this. I had my time with Another Eden, but when I stopped playing, I never went back to it to find out if like you can just continue the main story or not.
I would hope so.
Yeah, it would make sense.
All right. We have any other thoughts here, or do we want to move on?
I'm itching to hear the stuff from Block 2. There's some cool stuff here.
There sure is. All right. Well, Audra, what are we starting our next block with?
We're starting our next block with the aptly titled The Story So Far, from composer Shuhei Naruse and performed by Chisato Akita from The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel Northern War.
Those titles just get longer and longer.
Yes.
And now, as we'll talk about soon, our most contested track on the episode. Pete, what is your first song? Although we don't technically know what it's called, but
yeah, we're gonna call it Jinzhou because that's the name of the city that it's in, and it's from Wuthering Waves. Audio artist, as far as we know, is a composer, but we do know that the music director is jixwang, which I'm sure I'm not pronouncing correctly. They are the music director of Wuthering Waves.
I don't know, it sounded pretty good to me. All right, let us go listen, and then we'll explain why there's a bit of a story behind that second song.
果てしなく続いてゆく終わりなき旅路未来への道見つけ出すからそうずっと歩いてきた奇跡ただ信じどんな運命が待ち受けてても進もう目の前に広がった私だけの進むべき道を行く何か一つ失うたび立ち止まりそうになるけれど脳によみがえる言葉胸に私たちのこの先へ本当の正義はどこにある見つけたい大切なもの失わぬようにそうずっと歩いてきた奇跡ただ信じこの街を守るために戦う瞳に映った景色過去と今では全てが違うの真実の声が聞こえるもう一人じゃないから一歩も引かない果てしなく続いてゆく終わりなき旅路未来への道見つけ出すからそうずっと歩いてきた奇跡ただ信じどんな運命が待ち受けてても進もう
All right, well, the story so far for the Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel Northern War is it's a mobile game that's based off of an anime adaptation that was like of a side story to the Trails of Cold Steel games. And the anime itself actually is pretty good. I'd recommend it if you're a Trails fan. But I would probably not recommend the mobile game, but just because of the horrible translation job they did with it in particular. But I do like that they carried over some of the music tracks from the anime, which actually did manage to capture a lot of that Falcom feel with them. And the opening theme, the story so far, is actually one of them. And I kind of love that I found a full-length version of it that just because I think it's a great song from an instrumentation stance. It actually fits for the main character, Lavi, and the situation going on with the titular Northern War from the lyrics. And just, man, like close to the ending, there's like an instrumentation change that's actually really, I love it. And I wish I could hear it more often in the song, but it really works for when they throw it in and then they have the vocals come up again, and it's just a really good song, and it just kind of fits for the Trails lineup of having excellent vocal themes.
When that verse kicks in, at the beginning part of that verse, they got those electric drums coming in real interesting texture to it. Mm-hmm. Just like for a second, and then it's gone. It's back to like the up-tempo part.
Yeah, it's a good song. I feel like it deserves to be praised, even though the game itself is not the best. But I'd also say watch the anime. Yeah.
I would say watch the anime and read Audra's review of this game, because I remember that review.
Oh, yeah.
You are one of the most positive people we have on the site, and that I just know, like, in general. And I can tell that you were just like,
Yeah.
I know how much you wanted to like that game. You're just like, it was just such a missed opportunity. So thankfully, it still has some good music.
Yes.
You have to pardon my ignorance, but does this happen to be the opening theme of the anime? Because it very well could be, no?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
It's actually, they took a lot of the songs from the anime for the game version.
Why not if they're like this?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. And I like that. Like I don't have an example of this, but like I like it better like if you're going to do a tie-in to an anime movie or show or whatever, like it really helps if you have some of the same music or at least similar music. Otherwise it doesn't feel like it's really, I don't know, you lose some of that connection if you don't have that. So
it gives continuity for sure. It also the only thing that comes to mind is the glut recently of video game to TV adaptations where the show makers brag that they've never played the game before, and it's like, well, this would be a sign that you at least know a little bit of what you're doing. If you bring some of the music over from one to the other.
True.
I can imagine. I really brag. Like I've heard people are like, "Oh no, I didn't play them." It's like it'd be a weird thing to brag about.
I might be exaggerating. I don't know for sure, but just like it's a topic for another day. But apparently, the Halo people were like, "Oh yeah, we don't play that." I don't know, something like that.
We just looked at the cover.
Yeah, they just kind of told us generally, and then we just made our own stuff around it.
Although I heard the Halo show was okay, isn't it?
I've never seen it. I gotta play good and terrible sometimes video games. I don't have time for that.
It's true. Anyway, yeah, so like the vocalist on this one is so good. It's so much fun. I'm glad, Audra, you mentioned that one change, the one at like the 3-minute mark. I noticed that too. I'm like, it's so brief. It's so brief, but it's an interesting little thing where they cut away to this sudden like choir and instrumentation, and then the music like kind of falls out just for a moment, like this little breath before like the final section. But it's really neat. Like even as brief as it is, it adds some variety and a little interesting moment to the song that was already good anyway. So.
It acts like a breakdown, it's like a heavy metal style breakdown.
Yeah.
But it's with this cool instrumentation.
Yeah, there's a trap when you do like the anime intros, like short version and then the full version, where your full version can be really boring if you're just verse chorus. You gotta like bring a little production value to it to make it good. And I think between little things like you noticed, Pete, like the electronic drums in that one moment, and then, you know, the sort of pull away breakdown that you were talking about, Mike, with the choir and everything. Like, it's things like that can sustain a 4 or 5 minute vocal theme and make it feel good from start to finish.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Are we talking about Jinzhou now?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, where do we start?
Wuthering Waves, man. Well, I mean, we kind of got with our internal controversy around this about who did the song, who didn't do the song. I mean, that's aforementioned at this point. But you know, what can I say? You know, Genshin Impact came out, and a bunch of developers were trying to make Genshin Impact, and I hate to say it, but that's kind of what Wuthering Waves in. It's got its own stuff going on. It's cool. And that's not really a knock against it. But I played Genshin Impact for like 2.5 years straight every single day. And I started playing Wuthering Waves. And since I've stopped playing Genshin Impact, it's kind of like, well, I've stopped this. Why am I starting this again? So it feels similar. But I think if you have room in your heart for a type of game like this, I think I still do somewhere in there, or maybe in the future. It's awesome. Wuthering Waves is cool. It looks amazing. It obviously sounds amazing, as you heard from the track. And you hear this track probably less than 45 minutes after you start the game is when you arrive at Jinzhou, which would be the capital city of the nation you begin. And what really, I mean, I got to this main city and I'm still there. I haven't gotten beyond it. I kind of want to just walk around and hear the day and night versions of this track. And what we heard is the daytime version, if I'm not mistaken. And it really stood out to me, particularly in instrumentation. From the very beginning, you have this like sparkle of these wind chime type of things, and you have some plucked instrument, which I don't know what you would call it. Patrick, do you know what that is?
I couldn't say for sure. I mean, it's definitely one of your traditional Chinese string instruments. If it's sort of like a biwa style lute, maybe, but I don't want to say for sure. Yeah,
there's some good traditional Chinese instrumentation in this one. And then almost immediately this synth bass comes in, and it has very, very low attack. It's like a very smooth, round synth bass. And it seems that as the bass moves around, because the bass is, even though it's kind of in the background in this track, it does act as a lead. It kind of guides your ear all over the place. And sometimes as the bass moves around the scale, it'll hit it with some of the attack, which is very, very low attack, but there is a little bit of attack. And sometimes it just slides around with zero attack. And so it just sounds like the bass is sliding up and down and up and down and up and down and going all over the place in like one continuous strum or pluck without any other playing of the instrument, even though it's a synth bass. I hope I'm kind of explaining how it is, but how it just slides all over the track is amazing. And then later on, there's a bit of a bass solo where it seems to be they randomly decided whether to put attack on the notes or to just slide the note up to whatever note they were going to. And the string instrument we mentioned, it's very simple, but sometimes it'll just rip into these big slides with fast plucking, or rip into like a blues run, even kind of randomly, which is also a sort of a touch of the Western. And halfway through the track, a lo-fi, chill, hip hop beat to study to kicks in. So there's a lot of going on in this 2-minute track, but it manages to cohere in a way. And it really stood out to me when I was playing the game of just like, oh, I gotta just stay here and listen to this.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was towards the like latter part of the song. Like there's a lot of different things going on. So I had trouble getting my notes together about what I wanted to say about it. And it doesn't matter because it wouldn't be as well informed or articulate as what you just said. So, but no, it's really neat. I wasn't sure what I was expecting, but I enjoyed it. like you said, there's some traditional like instrumentation and then some electronic sounds and then some really nice like heavy bass and percussion. Some cool, like definitely something I recommend headphones for, because it does some cool things moving between the two channels. And really cool sound. And then just to let everyone in on a little bit of what because Pete, we did talk about that, but that was before we recorded. We were trying to figure out where this was, because we don't see this song on any of the many, many, many albums this game already has. I think a lot of them are EPs, right? Or maybe it's on there, but under a different name. So we ended up looking at a YouTube video, which turned out to be a screen capture of the game's website, which plays the song that's in the game, but seemingly not on an album, but doesn't credit the artist. But we were so dead set on trying to figure out who this was. We looked at the source code of the page, where the little player is, and even got down to the part where we saw the track name, and then where it said artist, it just said album artist. So there was a placeholder piece of code in there. But we really tried for all of you. We really tried to find out who composed this exactly. And go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think just what you were about to say, I think, before I so rudely interrupted you. If any of you know who did this track, please let us know.
Yeah, exactly. So, but, I don't know that we could have dug much deeper than that one.
Yeah. And, the great thing for me in digging through all of the different releases and sort of just listening to preview streaming samples on iTunes, QQ, and some other streaming services where you can find these many Wuthering Waves releases, is I heard a bunch of music that wasn't exactly Jinzhou, but is used in the same area, and you can get a similar feel, and it just speaks to the consistency of the quality of the composition and production of this sort of cool style that can take traditional, Asian ethnic instrumentation and then throw in, this real groovy synth bass, or do, like you said, like a blues riff and a solo, Pete. There's stuff like this all over the soundtrack. There's one that's also used in the Jinzhou area called, I think it's called Bustling Streets, which is on the Volume 1 OST. It's a little slower and it's a different melody than the music that we shared with everyone today, the Jinzhou main theme. But like that one stuck out to me. I was like, oh, this is good too. And then I like listened to the next track and I'm like, oh, this is good too. And it really does speak to a consistent quality with this game soundtrack.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Any more thoughts?
Well, I had this song on repeat for quite a while as I was preparing for this podcast, just because it was such a really great, in general, melody, and I liked learning more about it and the game, actually, as a result.
I mean, I definitely encourage folks to check the game out. It looks amazing. It's got real flashy combat and, similar sort of, I guess, general tactical considerations that something like Genshin Impact might have, of different elements and things like that. So if you're inclined to this kind of action RPG, I would say it's worth a look. It's not like it's going to, initially anyway, cost you anything.
Exactly.
All right.
Well, let us move on to block 3 with my favorite mobile game, which is Final Fantasy Record Keeper. Discontinued outside of Japan for a couple of years now, but apparently still running over there, as far as I know. They recently celebrated their 10th anniversary, which is about when this album came out. So what we're going to listen to is a song called Smooth White from the Record Keeper Volume 5 original soundtrack. And this one is by Takeharu Ishimoto and Devin Kinoshita. And then, Pat, what's your second song?
I'm also pulling one from a Square Enix game that ran for a while globally and has shut down globally, but is still running in Japan. And that is Romancing Saga Reuniverse. I think everyone knew I had to bring some Saga.
Oh, yeah.
So this is from its Volume 3 OST. The song is called Entrance, Celestial Fulcrum. It's composed by series composer Kenji Ito, arranged by Kohei Tanaka. I'll talk about that more. And performed by vocalist Ayano Nonomura.
Awesome. All right, let's go get into our Square Enix block.
So what I love most about Smooth White is it is perhaps the chillest song on the Interstate 76 soundtrack. Oh wait, oh gosh, golly, I got it wrong again.
Are you trying to co-opt my song comments here?
I'm just saying it's funky, Mike. That's all.
It is. It is.
I don't think we've come back in yet, though, right?
I don't know. I guess we can say we did. If everyone's ready, we're here.
Sorry,
we're here. We're going.
I jumped the gun on that one.
That's fine. This song completely surprised me. I don't know if I mentioned this at some point. I might have. A little bit of backstory is that because this 5th volume came out last year, I was considering it for our Music of the Year episode because there's a really, really cool 10th anniversary medley on there that compiles a bunch of like classic Final Fantasy tunes with new instrumentation, and it's really great. In fact, I recommend checking it out. And I was sure I was going to pick that. I was so sure I was going to pick that. I put it in our song selection for the episode, and I told everyone, hey, I got my songs picked, we're ready to go. And 5 minutes later I listened to Smooth White and I'm like, I changed my mind. I like twice now I've like not had my 10th anniversary medley on, but it doesn't matter because this I don't know, I didn't expect some like lively big like jazzy sound in my record keeper, because when I played record keeper, I'm pretty sure there were no songs at all like this in there.
I'd love to know the context, because it surprised me too when I listened through the playlist when you posted it.
Oh,
yeah, I'm guessing it's probably an event. It's probably a limited event thing, because that's where a lot of this music comes from. Like this album has a bunch of they keep releasing these albums every 2 years and they collect like seasonal event music. So maybe it's one of those. Yeah, like I didn't. If it is at all based on another Final Fantasy song, like I can't place it.
Yeah.
If anyone knows, like please let me know. But I couldn't pick it up. All I know is it's just got such a fun rhythm and sax work. It's a little bit jazz club, a little bit 1990s Weather Channel Kenny G sound, but it's so just fun and soulful, and I really enjoy it. It was a nice
definitely
surprise.
Smooth.
Yes.
I love this. Allow me a moment. I'm gonna pretend like I know what I'm talking about for a second here. The tone on the bass is insane. It's like got super boosted mid-range, and it's just growling the whole time. And the bass is not trying to really stand out so much here. It's kind of just living like the rest of the song. Whenever it's doing any runs, it's kind of just on that pentatonic kind of like funk thing, and it's kind of keeping it pretty basic, but it's got like the rattle on it. You know what I mean? The way that they have that bass tone going is I find it unusual in this kind of jazz funk fusion type of track that the bass would have that sort of tone. Usually they try to get it to be more rounded and more conventional, but it's awesome. It gives it so much personality, and of course just crazy pocket. Like it's a great kind of funk jazz fusion type of thing. Now I'm ignorant again. I'm ceasing to pretend like I know what I'm talking about.
It sounded pretty informed to me. I think you're good.
Yeah, it's I'm pretty sure you know what you're talking about, and it's definitely the case that Takeharu Ishimoto. If you look at the other things he's worked on, like The World Ends With You is something that stands out, and then some of his work across like compilation of FF7. Crisis Core being
and
a
Type
big
Zero?
One.
Is that wrong?
Is that him? I thought that was Tsuyoshi Sakito. I'd have to go back and look.
Oh, I thought he did something on Type Zero. Okay.
He might, he
may
might
have done some things.
He's done a lot, and he does really well with taking sort of the instruments that we would think of with like a traditional rock band. So guitar, bass, keyboard, drums, and then we'll use those instruments in a variety of other contexts. I think he does acoustic guitar very well, though this isn't really that. But the stuff you were saying about the bass really felt like I could definitely say that about some of his better tracks on Crisis Core. And then I think Devin Kinoshita handled not just as co-composer, but is listed as an arranger on this track. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of the smoother elements, so to speak, the more sort of traditional new age jazz kind of sound is more him than Ishimoto.
If that's true, he's definitely responsible for that impeccable organ that they chose.
Oh yeah, I think that's probably the case. And I love this track. I think this is like the most listenable, like I will go back to this again and again of everything on this set that we posted today. It's like this and Jinzhou are probably the two big surprises for me. I really do love this track a lot. Hey, should I talk about entrance?
Sure.
Sure.
So a couple episodes ago, I don't know how many it was, but when we did Music of the Year, the Rhythm Encounter episode, I brought another Saga piece, and that was from Saga Emerald Beyond. And that was also composed by Kenji Ito with vocals by Ayano Nonomura. And I'll share the story again. Kenji Ito was at like a baseball game in 2015, and Ayano Nonomura came out and sang the Japanese national anthem. And he was like, I need her in Saga. And she has now performed on like at least three Saga games. She did the vocal theme for Saga Scarlet Grace. She's on multiple tracks on Emerald Beyond, and then she's also participated in a few of the Reuniverse soundtracks. And so her contribution to original soundtrack Volume 3 is Entrance Celestial Fulcrum, which the song didn't really have a role in game. It was music that played in the title screen and then sort of main menu / lobby for about a month, celebrating whatever anniversary they were on last year. And that's hard to keep track of because the Japanese anniversary and the global anniversary are different. But it was an incredible piece of music, and they somehow managed to get Kohei Tanaka to come in to arrange the strings for it and do sort of a symphony orchestra sound. Kohei Tanaka being famous for his work on Sakura Wars, Gravity Rush, and then of course my favorite, Alundra. And Kohei Tanaka and Kenji Ito have never worked together before, and apparently they bribed him with alcohol and the opportunity to work with this impressive vocalist. So that's in the liner notes. You can read it for yourself. That's there.
Amazing.
And I love that, and I love all three of these artists. I've loved Kenji Ito forever. Kohei Tanaka, ever since I heard Alundra, has just been top tier for me, and Ayano Nonomura, ever since I heard her on Scarlet Grace, doing the ending vocal theme there. So you just put together three of my favorite musicians and say, all right, just make this beautiful piece of music to celebrate this long-running romancing saga game, which, for those who care to know, Reuniverse is technically a direct sequel to Romancing Saga 3. It's kind of like if you took, it's like Final Fantasy for the after years, which Audra, thanks for getting that review up on the site today. I love it. But made it a mobile game with gacha mechanics, and then just started bringing in characters from the entire series. That's Reuniverse. And I loved it. The game closed down for English speakers and its global servers back in December. But I've really loved what they've done with it musically. I think I have a review of this on the site, this album. So check that out if you want to learn more. But yeah, I wanted to share this song specifically because I love the sort of operatic vocals that Ayano Nonomura does, and the fact that it's a collaboration between Ito and Tanaka is just, they're from like different worlds. If you kind of know who runs in what circles, they don't intersect, but here they did, and it was magical.
Definitely magical would be how I'd describe this song, actually. There's just a sense of real wonder and mystery and kind of a tone of wistfulness in it, but I really like it.
It's just such pure vocals that kind of just like stab through, you know? That's the showpiece of this one.
Yeah, I do think the vocals on it are just so strong, and they really do hit. I agree, Pete.
But I mean, like for me, like the vocals, yes, but also like the strings and everything else about the song, like just it's like we talked about earlier. Well, all of us, but you know, Pete, you definitely touched on it. But like the production quality here, like this is more than you get in some like quote unquote, you know, full real RPGs on console or PC. It's really, really impressive.
Someone out there is taking these games seriously.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm glad, you know, especially when they shut down, it's nice that we still have music like this to listen to. Also, I completely blanked on Kohei Tanaka as far as like credits go until you mentioned Alundra. I'm like, oh yes, right. I kept looking at the name, like I know that name. Why am I blanking? I wasn't expecting to be talking about Saga and Alundra on the same song. It's really neat.
Well, you can tell why I brought it then, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Some of my favorite things ever.
Yeah. Thank you. That was a good one. All right, are we ready for our final block today?
Let's do it.
Sure.
This one's looking good. I like this block.
This one's looking good, and I've been very careful not to say anything because I am sort of blown away by our last song today. But I will let Audra introduce it. But first, Pete, what is your second song?
My song is, I believe it's called Springvale 1, and Yu-Peng Chen is the composer from Genshin Impact.
Awesome. All right. And Audra, next song.
My song is Love in Deep Space, but performed by Sarah Brightman from Love in Deep Space.
All right. Well, let's go listen to our last block.
Some love for longevity before fading to dust. Some long for eternal sleep as eulogy chanted by stars. Into that serenity, their lost time forever buried. She rambled 1,000 times, 1,000,000 miles, searching for light. Free from the rule of death, now seems so dull. Time goes by, but memories rewind as she prays again. Back when things began. Where to go? Where they meet to grow old. Where no rivers would flow, no woods would grow, no life would never Some fall for eternal sleep. Their eulogies turn into gleaming stars. Will they be just stars again, or go with the wind?
This is a very short track. It's a very simple track. It's another track that you encounter early in the game if you start Genshin Impact. It is a small town near where the game starts. And it's one of those things where I can't bring myself to say too much about it because you should just go listen to it. And it's hard for me to really articulate what I love so much about it. Yes, it's acoustic guitar. It's kind of like classical style guitar. It's beautiful, but it just pushes my buttons. I'm sure another person would hear it and be like, well, yes, that's a very nice tune. But for me, it just is it transports me. And I can't really tell you precisely why. But this, of all the vast music in Genshin Impact and of all the high quality of the music in Genshin Impact, for me, this is the one. This is the hit single in my own heart.
The hit single. I like
That's
that.
beautiful.
It is. I mean, well, one, let me mention quickly that during our break there, we did look into it, and one of those songs that could be named multiple things. So, Pat, you found out it's on the Shimmering Voyage soundtrack and could be called Springvale or could be called Whence the Flow Cometh.
That's the song's name as it's listed on the OST. I do believe in-game menus for the English version of Genshin Impact just refer to the songs for Springvale as Springvale 1 and Springvale 2. So
yeah, so we'll just put both in the track list because
yeah,
it'll make it easier for people to find or look it up. But yeah, so my notes here were just pluck, pluck, pluck. That's all I wrote.
A lot of plucking.
No, that's not all I wrote. But I am just such a huge fan of like acoustic and more delicate stuff like that, like piano music, singer-songwriter stuff. Like I love that kind of stuff. So this really, really intimate and peaceful song is just my jam.
I will say real quick too, I did feel kind of naughty when I picked this one for today, to be honest, because however long it was ago that I was on this show, I picked the nighttime version of it because it's a piano version of this. It's the same track, very, very similar arrangement, just on piano instead of guitar. And that was the piano episode. However, I always preferred this version. That version's amazing, but this is my preferred one.
I don't think you did anything naughty. That was a while ago. I'm actually looking it up now because I want to see. I
double checked it before I picked this one, and it was outside of the statute of limitations for repeating songs just in case. But yeah,
episode 70. Oh no, you're totally fine. But yeah, no, I mean, just like, so the sound of it, it's I've only played a few hours, like the opening hours of Genshin. I've done like a couple little, if they're even called dungeons, but it's enough to know that I understand it fits like some parts of the landscape and like there's the world and the feel of the game. It's so there's so parts of it that are just so delicate, if not fragile. And I just find it motivational on top of all of that. And
it's so intimate because you hear the fingers on the guitar and everything. It's one of those things that you really should like turn up the volume on. Just get in it.
Yeah.
I love that we can even have this much discussion and we have this many feelings about an 84-second track. It's really lovely.
Yeah, Yu-Peng Chen in general, sort of as Masayoshi Soken is to 14, Yu-Peng Chen is to Genshin Impact. And one of the things I love about Yu-Peng Chen is you'll have these occasionally like these really sort of big grandiose orchestral numbers, but often you're getting really sort of stripped down, simple piano, guitar, just like it kind of pulls you back in the same way that like the Zelda, like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom had so much music that was environmental and stripped back, right? Genshin Impact also, for me, has that feeling. And I think the craziest thing for me subjectively is I've only dabbled in Genshin Impact, but one of my children, my middle child, was like super into Genshin, you know, late into the pandemic. And then like, I would say 21, 22, like during those years, he was like super into it. And like, I definitely heard this music when he was just like playing it on his laptop. And like, so it's the way it's emotive for me is just spending time with my kid who was playing you know, this mobile game and just loving it, and just me being happy to see him just like taking interest in, you know, something that is sort of also in my wheelhouse, because my kids really aren't gamers so much. But I was like, oh, he's digging this. And so,
such
like,
good taste in someone so young.
well,
Yes.
so young. I mean, he's 17 right now, but
Yeah,
he would have been 14.
Compared to some of us, that is pretty young now.
Yeah, I'm 41, so yeah. But you know, shout out to Micah if you listen to this episode. You know, my happiest memories of Genshin Impact are about him talking to me and about how much he was enjoying it. And yeah, my experience with the music is very much just like hearing it in the background in my own house as he's listening. And so I've never written a review for any one Genshin Impact soundtrack. I think if I did, it would be Shimmering Voyage, and I think the next main OST after it, which is another like 4 or 5 hour set, because those are the ones that I know really well. And so yeah, Shimmering Voyage and all of its music is good, but this track, the Springvale music, I agree, is just, it's simple, it's good. You can't deny the emotive power of just this sort of really simple composition with the sort of descending melodic piece with just sort of arpeggiated or pedal tone style with you're holding the lower note and moving the higher note up and down.
Yeah, like a home base type of thing. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
I'm always a sucker for that sort of thing.
Yep, same here, Pete, same here.
It's a lovely song that you can just kind of close your eyes and get lost in, I think. That's kind of my impression of it, at least.
Yeah, for sure.
I had stuff to do when I was playing Genshin Impact, and some of that stuff was in Genshin Impact, and I would just procrastinate just hanging out in Springvale so I could listen to it over and over.
I think we've all been there somewhere in different games, right?
Definitely.
That's a very RPG type of player thing to do, you know?
Oh yeah, I do it all the time when I actually ever do boot up Xenoblade in an attempt to finish the game. I definitely do that in there.
You can do it, Mike.
One of these days.
One day. All right.
We better get into this next one. This is a doozy.
Do it, Audra.
Oh, well, I happen to adore Sarah Brightman's work in general, and just when I first heard that she was actually doing the theme song for Love in Deep Space, it got me curious about the game, which turned out to be kind of my cup of tea because it's a VN action RPG hybrid, which I wasn't expecting. But then I still love this song every time it plays in the intro of the game. It's haunting and just very beautiful. And I think her vocals and just the instrumentation of I want to say it's like maybe not the halfway point, but close to it. It really gets to you.
The production on her vocals was so crazy. It was like slightly kind of modulated, and it had like this little, I don't know if it was like a flange on it or something, but I don't know. I can't articulate the feeling it gave me, but it was like the song opens and I'm like, huh, okay. And then like 30 seconds in, I'm just in it. I get it now.
Yeah.
I'm fully connecting with this thing. And then I'm like, you know what? I wonder if something's going to drop. And then there's a sort of a bridge just past the halfway mark where it goes into like this electronics beat. But what I did not expect, I halfway expected that because I was like, I wonder if they'll do this. But I didn't expect it to be like a halftime feel, like kind of a slower one. And it's just like, whoa. Like my whole chest like opened up.
It's very, I don't want to say philosophical, but there's just something very almost symbolic about the way the instrumentation and vocals are in it that I really like.
Yeah.
It's I'm still trying to not just get hung up on the fact, like, I really think Sarah Brightman is incredibly talented. She's not someone I think about often. It's just every once in a while, like when she crosses my ears, I'm like, oh yes, she's fantastic. But I haven't listened to anything by her in a while, so I definitely was not ready for her to appear in a video game. I wish I had looked it up before this. I don't suppose you know how that collaboration came to be.
I don't actually. I just heard about it after the fact.
Yeah, I want to look it up after this now, which is great podcast material. It's like, hey, I'm going to do something, but whoever's listening is not going to get that information. But like, it just the thought of like a game like this has someone like that. It really just throws me off. It's like when Square got Florence and the Machine to do Final Fantasy 15. However, Square Enix, much bigger company, much bigger budgets for a game like that. So like not totally out of place, but still surprising and still one of my favorite things they ever did with music in that series. And then you have things like Claire Obscure and their voice cast where they're like, hey, this is like the first time. I mean, obviously these people have made games, but like this as a developer now, this is their first game. And like, they just kept announcing like, we have Ben Starr, we have Andy Serkis. And I'm like, who are you? Who are you that you get names like this, like people like this? And like, it's just staggering to me. But I'm all for it. Like, and this song like is so beautiful. I want to link the music video that we listened to for this episode in the show notes too, because the visuals that go along with it.
It has some gorgeous visuals.
I'm so glad you brought that up. Yeah, the waterfall thing, and then it's like in space with Nebula, and then it's like a mountain. It's like, okay, existence. Let's contemplate this.
I don't know a whole lot about the game outside of like what I've read in your review, Audra. Like some more like based on the review and like some surface level stuff. But looking at the music video, like her just way of singing and the style of the song, like seems it's so dreamy and it really feels like it's a good fit for the game, which I hope is correct.
Yes.
Really, really surprising. Like that's exactly why, by the way, that it's the last track on our episode today, because I'm like, I want to end with this because it's just conceptually it blew me away. But besides being just a great song on top of that.
Thank you. I'm glad you liked the choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's once I was like, finally an excuse to bring Sarah Brightman on.
I never thought we'd get the opportunity because again, thinking about like what I said about Ito and Tanaka, like that's a much smaller example of two things that you don't expect to intersect would be an Otomi visual novel mobile game plus Sarah freaking Brightman.
Right?
It wasn't on my bingo card for any year. And here we are.
I'm going to say this now, even though if you gotten to this point in the episode, you'll have already known. I may partially clip the song just for copyright, because we've only gotten flagged on one copyright thing on YouTube recently, and it was because I insisted on having Ariana Grande on here. I imagine that could happen with Sarah Brightman too, but we'll see. We'll see. Either way, we're going to link the music video, and that's a good place to watch it. So. Or maybe I'll just put the whole song in, and if something happens, I can always edit it, but we'll see. Anyway, either way, thank you for bringing that. Actually, we're at the end here. Like, thank all of you for bringing such great music today.
It was an awesome selection of songs.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
I wasn't sure what we were in for on this one. I knew there's a lot of good stuff out there, so I have to admit, not to put you on the spot, Pat, I'm a little surprised that there was no Nier. I realize how you feel about Nier Reincarnation. I'm really happy with the two you brought, but we're gonna have to do a topic in the near future, and maybe you can bring on some Reincarnation.
Yeah, we have plenty of reason to do a full Nier episode if we wanted to. I mean, with the 15th year anniversary, I'd love to do Reincarnation.
Oh.
There's that new Piano Journeys album that Benjamin Nuss recorded. There's always plenty of Nier to share with the world. And didn't they recently put virtually every album up on Spotify a few months ago?
Not even, I don't even think it was a few months ago. I think it was a few weeks ago. Yeah.
It was like the whole,
stuff out there.
everything, rare arranged albums, 60 hours worth of music. It's insane.
Yeah. That was cool. All right. Well, let's get to our housekeeping stuff at the end before we get to our not so secret bonus track. So games that debuted on Rhythm Encounter, unsurprisingly, we had a lot this time. 6 of our 8 songs were games that had never been on the show. So Another Eden, Love in Deep Space, Octopath Traveler, Champions of the Continent, Romancing Saga Reuniverse, somehow, haven't had on yet, Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel, Northern War, and Wuthering Waves were all new to Rhythm Encounter. So thank you all for continuing to help us just deliver more and more diverse music on the show. Coming up next on Rhythm Encounter, if you're listening now, you know we've changed the schedule a little bit the last couple weeks, but that's just because May, June, there's a lot of stuff going on. So should be in 2 weeks. We're going to get back to our regular 2-week schedule soon, but whatever. If it's 2 weeks or 1 week from now, we are doing Wild Arms next. Actually, Audra, you're going to be on that one too.
Yay, Audra.
Oh, yeah. Love me some Wild Arms.
Me too. So it's a Wild Arms series episode. So any Wild Arms game is fair game, whether it's the 5 main ones or the mobile one and whatever else I'm not thinking about.
Crossfire,
yeah. Thank you for saying that, because I always forget that XF is meant to be pronounced as Crossfire.
Oh, yeah.
After Wild Arms, we're going to do a Nintendo music episode. I was thinking about that, I don't know, a couple months ago. I'm pretty sure the Switch 2, before we knew the date, is going to be a summer release. So I kind of had that out there. So we're going to do not a Switch episode, just kind of a Nintendo RPGs episode, more or less around when the Switch 2 launches. So look forward to those two. If you have thoughts on this one, if you want to share us some of your favorite mobile game music, you can reach the show and me at music@rpgfan.com. And what is the best way for people to reach you, Audra?
Audra B at rpgfan.com through email.
Okay. And how about you, Pat?
My email, pgann, PGANN at rpgfan is a great way. Should I cover my social stuff too?
Only if you want.
Yeah, you can also find me on Twitter and Blue Sky. I am Gameadactyl on both of those. And I've been more active on Blue Sky lately because there are more things happening there that I'm interested in. And so, yeah, but I try to be on both.
Cool. And how about you, Pete? Unless you don't want people to reach you.
If you need to reach me, you can find me on Discord. Somewhere in there in the RPG Fan Discord channel. I don't post, but you can see me. You can DM me if you really need to talk to me about something, about how terrible my music choices are or whatever. Otherwise, nowhere else.
Okay. That's, you know what? I like that for you.
It's not because I don't want people to know. It's because I'm not on anything else.
That's good. Good for you.
I respect that. I respect the hell out of that.
Yes.
All right. Beyond Rhythm Encounter, the RPG Fan Podcast Network, of course, has 2 other shows, Random Encounter and Rhythm Encounter. Random Encounter, again, like I said, our schedule is a little weird right now. Generally, every other Monday opposite us, but somewhere in the coming weeks, we have 2 back-to-back randoms and 2 back-to-back rhythms. They recently talked about Clair Obscur and the shadow-dropped Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remaster. And then after this episode goes up, they'll be doing another Clair Obscur episode, but that's going to be a spoiler cast. So if you want to not be spoiled, I suggest playing the game before listening to that one, because they're going to cover whatever they want to talk about, which means I can't listen to it yet. Over on Retro Encounter recently finished a 2-part Suikoden 1 and 2. I don't want to say game journal, because they did 1 episode on 1, 1 episode on 2. Just revisiting Suikoden 1 and 2 because of the recent remaster. And coming up later this week, they're doing a top 10 90s RPGs episode. That is a topic very, very dear to my heart. I'm not on the episode, but I'm looking forward to it. Otherwise, you can find RPG Fan on most social media: Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Twitch. We have a YouTube, we have a Discord. All that stuff is in our show notes. You can find our website at rpgfan.com for RPG news, reviews, podcasts, music reviews, of course. 50% or so of which are written by Pat.
That ratio is going to change. I believe it with all my heart. Matt and Rob are killing it right now.
We have some really great people writing music coverage now. Yeah, it's exciting. Last link I'm going to give you is our shop at rpgfan.com/shop. You can find our RPG Fan merch and our review card collection book. At some point, I don't know if it's this summer or this fall, I'm trying to get some new merch in there, so be on the lookout for that. If you enjoyed this episode, wherever it is you get your podcasts, we would love it if you could subscribe or rate, review. All of that stuff helps get the word out and help more people find the show because, you know, the algorithm. So thank you in advance. If you've already done that, I'm thanking you not in advance. So we appreciate you listening. All right. So we are closing out, as always, with a bonus track. And Pete, since it's been so long since you've been on the show, we gave it to you. What is our bonus track that we're ending with?
One Hit Kill by Ghost Final for a game I'm really back and forth on. I have no idea how to feel about Girls Frontline 2 Exilium. All I'll say about this before you listen to it is be on the lookout for the feel change after the beat drops out in the midpoint. In the beginning, it's a straight ahead, bass drum and snare drum on the 1 and the 3, like any kind of rock or pop song would be. And at the end, for one bar, it's the 1 and the 3, and the next bar, it's the 2 and the 3 for some nice syncopation and some nice dynamics in an otherwise in a song that's otherwise pretty straightforward. And this also represents perhaps my greatest musical guilty pleasure, which is that synthwave stuff. So enjoy.
I have no problem with synthwave. I'm excited. All right. Well, thank you all for being here and making such a great episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We're going to leave you with One Hit Kill from Girls Frontline 2, and we will see you soon for Wild Arms. Okay, Pat, this time I want an elephant.
That sounded like various forms of how an animal sounds when they die.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Maybe it was just a weird Pokemon sound. Let's go with that.
That is a Pokemon.
Yeah, it's the Pokemon named Ooh.
That's right.
They're really, really phoning it in with some of their names, though, aren't they?